I've decided to do a 2-video series for advice that I would give to young men and young women. This is something that I didn't have a lot of people from my generation or even older generations never had, because for many years sex was not discussed, it was something taboo. There was no book to read unless you were super lucky to have somebody pass you a book or something, but those didn't pass along that easily. So this is my intention, to bring to young people, but not just, a few aspects that they want to at least look at in order to get better at sexuality. And when I say better, I don't mean in the physical sense. None of these things are actually about physical skills, because in fact, the first thing or the first key secret to being a good lover is how you hold space, how you relate to your partner and to the situations, and how you are encouraging your partners to relax and to feel okay to tell you whatever happens with them. So this is where the advice is going to go, both for young men and for young women. I encourage you to check out both of them. And at the end, I will also have a resource for you that you may want to check out as well. You will find under the video that there are timestamps with every advice that I give for each of the videos. Check those out and see if there is one thing that particularly jumps in your attention, or if you just want to go through all of them. So that's it. I hope that you enjoyed this series. So, guys, welcome to this video. Here are 10 pieces of information or advice that I have for you. You can always decide if you want to follow them or not. Number 1, a strategic alliance. Befriend an older woman and understand from her about women's sexuality. I think this is extremely important, as nobody within our age range, especially when we're young, when we're just getting out of our teens, when we're just getting started, neither men nor women of our age know so much about sexuality, because most of us haven't been given examples, haven't been given useful material to look at least haven't had parents, or we're just seen happy couples, satisfied couples. So we haven't really had a chance to get information from anywhere. So befriending an older woman, I think, is really, as I said at the beginning, a strategic alliance, because an older woman has been through a lot. She knows a little bit about her body, but she can intuitively tell you about other women's bodies as well. She can help you understand better what may be happening in a young woman's head. And she can help you especially get a better insight into holding space for your lover. Number 2, about romance and sex. As men and women, yes, we're wired differently. That's already common, not just from the biology and anatomy class, but it also is valid in the way we appreciate our sexuality. So as a young man, yeah, what do we want? We want as much sex as possible, and we want to enjoy ourselves as much as possible, ideally with as many people as possible. So most young men want to explore, they want to enjoy themselves. As young women, we are raised and we are told a lot to care about and to really respect and love the person that we're having sex with. And we're encouraged, directly or indirectly, to have a relationship and begin our sex life in a relationship, because that's where we're nurtured, that's where we're appreciated, that's where we are really taken care of, and we need that. Our bodies are wired differently. We need a certain amount of comfort, safety, relaxation, and somebody who's just this Knight Rider or Skywalker or something like that, who's very adventurous, who jumps from flower to flower, as we say in Romania, is probably not so focused on really taking his time and treating us and our bodies much better. So really building an atmosphere and building a rapport. A young man is mostly interested in just sex. And women's bodies rarely function just like that. So it is important to realize that if a young woman likes you and she develops feelings for you and she is willing from that place to have sex with you, she doesn't really want to pin you down. She doesn't want to curtail your freedom. She just wants to enjoy herself in the way that she knows right now and in the way that she's also encouraged. And by the way, it's really, really rough, especially for young women, to enjoy themselves sexually and to explore with as many people as possible without the stigma of a sexual slut, a sexual whore. Sexual shaming, slut shaming is really widespread, and especially among young women. So understand that a woman may need more consideration from you. She may need more affection from you because this is what it takes for her to open up sexually. Number 3, sexual continence. The term sexual continence, although generally it is referred to abstaining from ejaculation while you're having an orgasm, and it's especially for men, people have given sexual continence many connotations. Some people give it the connotation of prolonging their erection until they reach ejaculation. Other people go with the first and main definition, which is we're reaching orgasm, but we're not ejaculating. Yes, it refers to men. The reason I bring this up is not necessarily as a pregnancy control class, no way. It's for the benefit of lasting longer in your interaction and allowing your partner, your young woman partner, the time to really enjoy herself. It is pretty much the case, not generally, but pretty much the case, that men ignite faster sexually than women. And they tend to finish faster than women. And in most cases, women don't even reach orgasms. And as people mature, this remains a problem or a challenge for many couples. As men and women mature, this aspect, so the speed with which one partner finishes the sexual interaction and the other one doesn't, is pretty predominant. So acquiring the skill to really become sexually continent is worth investing in. Now, where do you learn this? Ideally from a much older man. So this is another strategic alliance for you, an older man. These men are not so easy to encounter though. But it is worth mentioning here, by the way, because this is the 21st century, there are many materials out there, classes, especially for men, around sexual continence. And if you don't have an actual physical man with whom you can talk, at least you can purchase one of these trainings and you can get trained. It's possible. I encourage you to go there. Why? Because you want your women, if you're going to be honest, you're just beginning your sex life and you're going to have a lot of partners. So you want your women to actually enjoy themselves. You want to leave the mark and the memory of a skilled lover, right? I hope so. So yeah, check this out, sexual continence. Number 4, discretion. Especially with young guys. I was in high school, not that long ago, by the way. But especially with young guys, I think it's still the case that they brag around which woman they had sex with whom they would never have sex with, whom they think is great, whom they think is not, who is a good kisser, but mostly right now, who is a good partner in bed. And while this attitude somehow is, let's say, understandable, at your age, you're starting to mark your territory as a male, as a potential sexual partner and sexual example for others, but doing this with other people, other partners basically, so mentioning women that you slept with or anything about other women, it's a blunder. And it's really a turnoff for any woman that is going to be intimate with you. I'm a woman. I hate whenever I meet somebody, even at my age, which is not that old, by the way, I hate it when I meet somebody who mentions older, like former partner, the way they were, what they did, and I'm like, okay, but this is from the past. And I'm not the only one, okay? This kind of an attitude, women don't really speak about their former lovers, and if they did, they would actually push the wrong buttons of a man. No man wants to hear about other men that she's had sex with, but somehow men assume that women are okay with hearing what other women you had sex with. So yeah, discretion is super important, and it's counterintuitive, at least at your age, because nobody really is discreet. Everybody kisses and tells, or has sex and tells, but nobody appreciates that on the long run. Number 5, the erotic persona. Take the time to really figure out what your partner, your present partner, is all about in intimacy. It's already known to many of us that neither two people are the same, neither in their physical expression nor in their internal erotic core. Their wishes, their aspirations, their fears, all the emotions that they have around their sexuality. So taking the time to really understand what the person in front of you is all about is in fact one of the biggest qualities that a man can have. And this actually you do just by asking. So what do you want? What do you dream of in sexuality? What are you afraid of? What do you like about it? Like innocent questions, questions out of curiosity. It's totally okay. You're showing an interest in this person in front of you, and that's totally okay. And on the long run, it also develops your muscles to communicate in intimacy, which is super rare. Let me tell you, especially in guys. Not that I know it may sound like I'm sexist, but I'm not. However, I do see that at the majority of the events, not just around sexuality, but around personal development in any shape or form, at this time, 2019, mostly women are present. Guys are much more rare there. Number 6, accidental pregnancy. It can happen, and it's not pleasant, but the most important thing to say here is that nobody really wants, when they're just starting their intimate life, nobody really wants to get pregnant, you know? And it's not just one person's responsibility, it's actually both of your responsibilities. So take your time to really be there with your lover. I mean, you had sex with her and she accidentally got pregnant, and she does need a lot of support. Trust me, she's scared. If she's going through that, she's scared. She does not want that. And the procedure, so if she finds out she's pregnant, that means the after pill doesn't work anymore. And the procedure to have an abortion is not a beautiful one at all. So just taking the time to be there with her, talking to her, expressing your feelings, how you feel, your opinion, taking the time to really ask her how she feels, what she wants to do in that situation, is extremely rare with young guys. So if you're watching this video and you've ever been in this situation, or you have a friend, encourage that person, or I'm encouraging you, to be there present with your lover. On the long run, you will thank yourself, because this can happen at any time. And it's not something that can happen only in your teens. It can happen when you're 20, when you're 30, when you're 40. And sometimes you just don't want that pregnancy. So you're developing a muscle on the long run, being present there with the consequences as well. And she will thank you, trust me, she will thank you so much on the long run as well. And her family will thank you as well. You have no idea what an accidental pregnancy can mean in a woman's life, young woman, and for her family. So if you muster your courage and your inner strength to be there with her, I say that everybody has a lot to gain from this, and you have a chance of not carrying something negative with you along the way, and you're becoming a better lover also. Number 7, sex games. If you really want to explore and experiment with sexual games, I encourage you to either learn from a much more mature and experienced person, or seek out a kinky community or any kind of sexual development community that you have where you live. People in your age range don't really know a lot about sexuality. As much as they say that they've read books or watched movies or watched online, unless they went to an actual training, either live or online, they don't really know that much. And it does make sense for you to go to people with experience, because sexual games can run the risk of traumatizing or hurting or scarring, emotionally or physically, your lovers or even yourselves on the long run. And you don't want that. That's not sexy, that's not a turn on. So it's worth seeking a person from whom you can learn or a community where you can develop. Number 8, sexual feedback. Now, it's not the part where I encourage you to ask, so how was it for you? For me, it was great. No. I'm actually encouraging you to develop a muscle of proposing things or asking for feedback, but in a way that is casual, that is light, and that actually requires your person to develop more than just, it was okay, it was great, it's fine, how are you? So the way to do that would be either, so you want to try something different next time? And that actually, so after you've had sex with somebody, proposing something like this can actually open up a discussion where you bring up more details and you learn things about your partner, but in a way that doesn't really feel like feedback, okay? It feels like, okay, you want to try something different, or you want to try something next time. And the other way is, so you want to do this differently. So it's still in the form of a proposal, by the way. It's never in, so how was it in the past? It's like, how do you want to go about it in the future? That's the trick. You're always projecting into the future, and you'll build together with her an atmosphere, and in doing so, you gotta, ask, so how do you think that would be for you? Or what would you need to be okay? So when you open up a discussion, want to try something different next time? Or how do we do it differently next time? Opens up the space for her to let you know how it was, indirectly. And she may not even know that she's giving feedback, by the way. So go about this in a different way. Don't make the same mistakes that older guys made in the past. They would just ask you, briefly, so how was it for you? Yeah, it was fine, but none of those women would actually feel safe to give the actual feedback. Because sometimes it can be offensive or hurting for the other person. So this way you get to know in advance what she wants, and nobody's hurt, nobody's offended, nobody's ego is affected. Sounds great for me. So this is the advice that I had, or the things that I consider to be of most importance. They're not all. I'm sure you can find a lot of other things that you can work on. So don't take this as, okay, that's it and I'm done. No, take it as a starting point and find ways to grow for yourself. I will put under this video and the other one, and I encourage you to watch both videos, by the way, no matter what you are, man, woman, doesn't matter. I encourage you to also watch that video and then check out the training that I have. I have a few trainings on Udemy. One of them is called Roadmap to Sexual Development. It's especially designed for me to help us get much better at our sexuality. Now, some parts are just about theory, others are about practices, others are about positioning ourselves. So how do we relate in challenging situations? And it's a course that will probably develop as time goes. And it's things that I've found in various places that I've been. I've put them all in one place, and it's also accessible. It's around $10 for the course, and you get access for life. So especially if you're just starting out in your sex life, this may be a good resource for you, and I encourage you to check it out. That's it. Enjoy, and I hope that you have a beautiful, fulfilling sexual life, and I hope that your partners, men or women, feel the same way. Bye.